right, so I have a couple this morning. So we're going to do active family postpartum this morning. I'm super excited to have on. It says Brittney, but we have Brittney and Mike of Savitch Fitness, also the conditioning room here in Arlington, Virginia. And I wanted to have them on first of all, because I love their gym and I go there, but second of all, because they are just the quintessential active parents with a couple of kids and have really navigated what it's like to be parents and be active themselves and kind of keep up with everything. So thank you guys for coming on. Maybe you can give us a quick kind of update who you are and how you came to be not only a couple that are active together, but to own a gym together and all of that.
So I'll do the short version. We met, shocker, in the gym. She was doing burpee pull-ups and I fell in love.
Aww.
We met in the gym and, we had so much in common in the fitness and everything else in life, and just worked out, and we had similar goals and future goals, and,
we talked about it a lot.
We talked about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I had bought the name, the conditioning room, like 15 or 16 years ago.
No kidding.
Yeah. Kind of a way back in the day. And she just gave me the confidence to do it with her. And
Aww.
We did it.
Yeah.
That's so great.
We did take a few shots that got shot down.
Oh, yeah.
So, it wasn't necessarily...
There was a few attempts.
Yeah, there wasn't... It's not necessarily it wasn't smooth sailing. We did find some locations and it didn't work out, and it took years until the stars aligned in 2018, and then we were able to really put it into motion. So, a little bit of
awesome.
It's hard work and persistence. And the other part of it is kind of timing, and when it's actually supposed to happen.
It's so funny, when you first started talking about being shot down, I thought you shot him down in dating. And so I'm like, wait a second, there's a story there.
We were friends first for about a year.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
okay. All right. And so background wise, Brittney, you have a background in gymnastics, right? Like, you competed as a kid and...
Not gymnastics.
Dance. That's what it was. I knew it was super flexible, something or other. So
yeah, I get that a lot, but no, I actually really didn't start doing that gymnastics stuff until I met Mike.
No kidding. Okay.
On a bar or did any of that stuff.
Was it more modern dance, or I can't remember?
Yeah, I would, but I taught all of it. I choreographed all of it. But I think that I personally really liked contemporary dance the most.
Yep.
I taught all ages, 3 to 13. I did dance teams out in Herndon, and I did competition teaching. Yeah.
And did you ever think you would marry an Olympic bobsledder?
And I didn't believe when he told me. I had to. I thought I was just blowing smoke up my what, just to kind of sell himself some.
That's a very unique pickup line, Mike. I mean, how often did you use that?
I did not have good pickup lines, and that,
that
was, if it was mine, it was probably the best one I could have used.
There you go. And so you guys, you do coaching with Savitch Fitness. That's your personal training business. And then you have the conditioning room. Both of you, I know, have worked with a lot of moms over the years. I'm guessing that's probably not something you necessarily set out to do, but just something that sort of came organically, considering where we live. Can you tell a little bit more about kind of how people find you and what is the challenges that moms have when they come to see you?
So I've been in this personal training for about 20 years now. I think I started young in college, and I think as I've grown and gotten older, the clientele has also grown and gotten older with me, and it just so happens that some of them have me before being a mom and then transitioning into being a mom. And I've really always been wanting to make my knowledge as I could. So I did prenatal training courses, and I was the only guy, the women, and just learning about Kegels and
yeah,
I could. I think I really just enjoyed training moms during pregnancy, letting them recover after pregnancy, and then rehabbing them back to feeling somewhat normal again after pregnancy. And I just, I don't have a whole clientele of postpartum and moms, but I've done enough through the years to have a little bit of knowledge on it. And it's fun to watch them from pre-baby being, confident and strong and fit to like going through the emotional roller coaster of pregnancy and their body changing and like just trying to keep them strong, not only physically, but mentally. And then going through the postpartum and then watching them get strong again after baby, going back to like what they used to be is like amazing. And it's fun to watch and fun to take through that journey too, for me.
Yeah. I think so too. Did that influence at all, Brittney, when you got pregnant the first time, like, did that influence, you felt like, okay, we've got this, we understand how this is going to go a little bit. Did that help, or did you feel like it was all brand new?
No, it was all brand new.
Everybody's different. And you have to basically, she went with how she felt good, wise, but everybody, you have to just listen to your body.
I think at the end of the day, him and part of what kind of encouraged him to seek more education and stuff like that was because strength training is not just a season; it should be for all seasons of your life, and making sure that that we're equipped and prepared to help people continue that through all seasons of life is so important because it just takes one little derailment, if that's a word. Yeah, like one little derailment and it can be so much harder. But if you can just do a little bit and just think about taking everything, pregnancy one day at a time, your recovery one day at a time, and then even coming back to the gym one day at a time, like, I mean, really, it's just one drop of sweat. It's just one walk in the neighborhood. It just starts with that one action and
Lifting
then
your new baby.
Right. And then, and then you just, it's like laying bricks and you just keep doing that. And I think that's why when I initially did this with you, I talked so much about the mental strength because all the tools and you can have all the resources. And sometimes with the internet, you can have too much of it. I think for me personally, I had to pull away from that. I had to like not try to consume so much, kind of like tap into my body and emotionally and physically and mentally and see where I was at each day and just get myself through that one day, let myself feel good, and then do the same thing the next day. And you know what I mean? That's what I think is important.
Yeah, I think that mindset piece, especially for moms that are so incredibly used to, they know what their body feels like. They know, okay, this is what I should be able to do. I can be active every day. And now all of a sudden you've got, schedules that are different. And sometimes people didn't, nobody slept last night or, whatever. That's probably the best advice I share or, I hear from people. It's like, you can't, I like to leap forward and be like, oh my God, it's going to be like this the next 16 years. That's not great advice. Don't do that. Definitely not. So for you guys, when you have someone that's interested, so if it's a mom that's interested in personal training, I know like a lot of postpartum programs are really kind of sort of basic and things like that. And you guys really, you take things up quite a notch. With both of your backgrounds, I mean, there are gymnastic components, there's cardio components, there's, obviously weightlifting components. Like, how do you figure out, or how do you encourage moms that they can do more? I mean, me personally, I didn't start doing any sort of weightlifting or CrossFit or anything until after my youngest was 3. So that was a whole sort of mindset shift, like, oh, hey, I can do these things even as a mom, even as an older woman. Not that I'm old, but you know where I'm going with that. But like, how do you kind of help shift moms' mindsets that they can do all these things?
Okay, so for me, we actually have a couple people that are newly pregnant and they're just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
But I look more for like, okay, what's our blueprint? What's on the board, right? Sometimes I look at it as more as a blueprint versus like something that is set in stone and this is what you have to do or you don't do anything oh, I don't like that. I look at it, I'm like, okay, that's our blueprint for you. What's the stimulus we're trying to achieve? So not necessarily always the movement, but the movements are programmed for a particular stimulus that day. And I try to find that stimulus for either a pregnant person or someone that's postpartum. And if I focus on that and continue to build on that as they're recovering or continuing to grow through pregnancy, if I just keep trying to achieve that stimulus, eventually we also get to those movements. So it's you almost work backwards, I would think, but and then they feel it too. They feel accomplished, and again, it comes back to your mind. When you feel accomplished and you don't feel defeated and you don't feel overwhelmed by what you're reading versus what you're doing, like what you're seeing on the board, and you all of a sudden get that little boost of confidence, and that confidence comes back the next time, and then you just kind of keep weaving that web. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Talk a little bit more about stimulus, kind of what you mean by that when people are listening.
No, I mean, like, so you can see on the board if they're coming to class or not, or coming to us as personal training. There's a certain movement that we want to from, like, to get the heart rate to elevate a little bit. And you're 7 months pregnant, you don't feel like doing double unders. Great.
Right.
There's things that we can do to keep an elevated heart rate comfortably. It could be a plate step up. It could be a hop skip over the plate. It could be anything, a little bit of movement that stimulates, like the dog.
Right, like a fine mountain climber. Like I have clients lean against a box and do the hiking up the knees. When you're get your heart rate up, and just that slight tilt, but it's not too much of a tilt. And then you come back from pregnancy, but you know that you could do those things before, and then you just start building upon it afterwards.
Yeah. And I think that brings up a good point, because a lot of women that go into whatever, exercise are like, oh, well, I'm going to do this move, or I'm going to do this thing. And they don't really get and this is where you guys use the term stimulus, but like, what's the why behind it? What's trying to be accomplished? And that's what I really like about the programming you guys do that was very different when I joined, was like, oh, this is going to be the focus for this period of time. We're going to be kind of doing this, and then that's going to change, as opposed to, oh, it's deadlift day again, that sort of thing. So I think that's so important when, especially women are trying to accomplish something, kind of what you said. You're like, you realize you can do a little bit more because those things are being challenged, whether it's cardiovascular or your stamina, like we're working on this week, or things like that. But I don't think that gets highlighted enough. I think we get bogged down in, okay, can you do bridges? Can you do this? Can you do that? But I like how you guys do that. For you guys as parents, what's been the biggest thing to navigate? You're small business owners. Your kids are now how old?
3 and 5.
Yeah, so you're in it. And you guys like to work out. How do you make this all work? I mean, we were talking earlier before you came on about how you don't see each other in the same place at the same time very much. Like, how do you prioritize that? How do you make sure that all happens? So I'm gonna have you guys scoot forward just a little bit. The audio is getting a little caught up.
That is a great question. I talk to with a lot of moms, or even that mindset, making that commitment to yourself, and then communicating it to your partner. For me, it's communicating it to your partner. And so I've always said it, like, prior to kids were like this, I was a dead set, like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. I worked out every day at that time. Then I got into business, and guess what? You have to work at that time. So then that kind of changes a little bit. And then I had kids, and you never know what you're going to get when you have kids. So for me, it's like, I tell myself, I'm making it happen tomorrow, but when it's going to happen, that can be the toss up. But he knows, I communicate to him, I make it a priority to myself, and then I just have to stick to it. It's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be at the same time every day. But when I have that window of opportunity, I see it, and it really does start with the mind. It starts with kind of thinking about it beforehand, and then committing to it the day of. And once you do that, couple days at a time into that, that 21-day period where that's where you really form a habit, you don't sacrifice it as much. You don't, you keep it on your priority list. You do it for yourself. You know that you're a better mom, you're a better wife, you're a better partner because of it. It's true.
Yeah. No, we've talked about this too. Like I'm always a morning workout person, but had previously gone to like a 9:30 sort of class. And
Okay.
it's so much easier now that I'm like, all right, 5:30, I'm in, it's done. Then I switch gears. I'm like, all right, we got to get the kids up to school or swim team or camp or whatever that is. But that box is checked. Like, and
Yeah.
you have to outsmart yourself because I know come 3, 4, 5 o'clock, forget it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But that took a long time. I mean, my kids are 8 and 11. It took a long time to find that sweet spot. It wasn't like that when my kids were 3 and 5. I think I was just starting to go because they had child minding and I could take my kid with me. So yeah. Mike, for you, like, go ahead, Brittney.
Oh, I was just saying, you have to be flexible with yourself. And
Yeah.
3 and 5-year-olds need childcare. I do. There's things that kind of do have to, like, I need that help. I need that assistance. Or I have the kids myself and I got to figure it out. And I do.
Yes. Yes. And it helps you have a home gym.
It helps. But before my home gym, I had a set of dumbbells and I would do it in the backyard. It was just knowing how much harder it would be if I didn't prioritize it.
Yeah.
So, you know, that keeps me motivated.
Well, and I think that's really important too when you have somebody like I'll have certain clients that like if they don't get to their workout, everybody's going to suffer. Things are just no, but like seriously, like and Mike was not pointing at you. No, but like and I think in the DC area, there's definitely a lot of women here that if that and you know I work with a lot of runners too. If runners can't run, if lifters can't lift, if they can't do that, they lose a piece of themselves. And I think that's a really big challenge postpartum. And when voices are like, oh, you'll get to it, don't worry about it. I'm like, no. This needs to happen. How can we get to this as soon as possible? And, you know, that's where I'll have clients that like I had one mom, it was her second kid. She had started back to running at like 3 or 4 weeks postpartum. And she's like, did I mess anything up? And I was like, honestly, no, actually, you probably made a good choice because that for her, like if she didn't do it, it was going to lead to, you know, postpartum depression or things that were far worse. And that's where I think the conversation about, you know, kind of meeting moms where they are and understanding their mindset and understanding the role of exercise is so important because you can't assume that it means the same thing from one person to the next. And it may mean, gosh, you know, we have to move hell and high earth, everything to make sure that this happens.
Yeah.
But
can I tell you a story real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I exactly what you mean, especially because of the serotonin levels, and with pregnancy and postpartum, your hormones are so out of whack. Anything that helps that for me, is that small piece, working out, lifting, doing something that just got my serotonin levels, raised my serotonin levels. And I don't know if you know that, but Hux got really sick at 6 weeks.
I do remember, yeah.
And so committed to Children's for about 9 days. And when I realized I wasn't going home for 9 days, he brought me dumbbells. And I have videos working out in the ICU with Hux. And I do. But it was like, this was a very traumatic time in the hospital. And the nurse made a joke once. They moved my bag. And she said, do you have a dead body here? No, it's just because, you know, it helps me a lot. It kept me positive and it gave me something to look for, to break up the day too.
Yeah.
So,
but how smart were you to, one, know that about yourself, and two, marry a guy that knows to bring the dumbbells to the ICU? Like that sounds like love right there.
almost before I finished already saying, do you want me to bring you weights? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
But he's here.
It's a true testament to her, but her as a person, her as a mom, staying motivated is tough in general.
Right.
But she's always made it a priority, and she touched a little bit about like adding confidence to your day and taking that to the next day. And if it just can stay consistent for a little bit, once you start to feel that fire of it making a change, just the feeling of it,
Yep.
not the visual. That feeling will carry over, and then once they start seeing physical change, it's like they've lit the fire, and it's burning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that motivation gets easier and easier. But
Because the discipline,
you have to
you have to
be
be
disciplined.
disciplined.
Yeah. Well, it's so much of that I think has to be internal. And so what you're saying is like, once they have that feeling, because it's not enough that you're like, okay, show up, show up, show up.
Yeah.
It's that feeling that comes that's like, okay, I need to do this. I need to keep showing up. I think that's where you get the longevity for sure. But yeah, it starts with just showing up. You're exactly right.
I can't necessarily like really relate to the postpartum. I mean, I'm a guy, right? I didn't deliver a baby. I didn't go through that. I don't have the hormones like that. But what I can say, just to speak for fathers who maybe play sports or were really active, my postpartum was not having sports to train for anymore. And
Yes.
I retired from everything. I really had no motivation to do anything. It was my postpartum depression, my post athletic depression. And, with her being by my side too, it helps to have someone really motivated, because now
Disciplined.
she and disciplined. She keeps me on my toes and keeps me at least getting those few days a week in training and staying strong and healthy for not just myself, but the family and the kids. And
Yeah.
keep the energy levels up. So, although I don't have the postpartum depression, I had that post athlete, no more sport depression.
Yeah. And you competed pretty much all through, because you did baseball for a while and then went into
From 7 years old to my junior year of college, I played baseball. ACL injury took me away from baseball, but found bobsledding. So the next 7 years after that, I did bobsledding till 2002 Olympics. And then from 2002, I owned gyms and I stayed a little bit motivated, but it was hard. Like, not
Yeah.
to train anymore was difficult.
Yeah.
And
That goes along with mindset too, I would imagine, where you're like, okay, this is my job. This is, I show up, I do this all the time, to, okay, now what?
right.
Yeah.
Of mindset, and for anybody similar positions and moms too. And I get moms too, I get myself, but it was with him. It was a lot of like, well, I used to be able to do this,
Mm,
do things too, and I would tell him, I'm like, don't worry about what you used to be able to do, but what you're doing today. Today will get you tomorrow, and shifting that mindset is so important, because that mindset of like, I used to be able to do this, or before my baby I was able to do this, it's such a negative self-talk. And even though you don't want to believe it, like when you keep repeating that, even if it's out loud, you are absorbing it a little bit internally, and that can just be kind of toxic, can be poisonous.
Very.
So I really don't allow my clients to even speak like that. And I'm like, yeah, but or look what you've done now. You've done this pregnancy,
yeah.
you had a great pregnancy, you have this kid that's looking up to you. Like, look at everything you have now, and like, let's let that be your reason. That's your why. This is the season that you're in. And then, you get over that little hurdle, and you start to see, like, I start to see the things that I can do now, maybe I wasn't doing before, but these are the things that my kids get to see me do now. And
Yeah.
things that I have ownership over, that make me feel good and give me empowerment, and then that makes me stronger in so many other aspects of my life. And I just think it's really, really important to talk positively to yourself. It doesn't have to be a goal. For me, I have no end goal. My goal is every day I just do something that makes me feel good and proud of myself, and I do it again tomorrow, and I do it again tomorrow, and that's what I hope, and that's enough. It's more than enough. I don't have to be, there doesn't always have to be this like dramatic finish line, right? I don't know how to
No, I mean,
I don't know how to put that the right way.
Being fit is a lifelong commitment.
There you go.
Just, you do a little bit each day to stay healthy, and life is short regardless. Be healthy and fit and move better,
Yeah.
and stay strong.
Well, I think that's always why I used to not be excited about sending clients to trainers who didn't have kids or even guys or that sort of thing. But I was always super comfortable with you, Mike, before I even knew you, because I think this explains it to me a little bit more now, where you kind of come from that place where you're like, I'm just happy to be moving now. I can be moving a little bit more. You guys, your motto for the conditioning room is stronger than you think. Like, I mean, it's not kill, crush, die. It's like, no, actually we can do more than you actually probably think. And a lot of moms, I think, postpartum, to your point, Brittney, like battling those mental challenges, you can do more than you think. You just got to keep showing up and doing that. So, well, your kids have great role models. I'm super excited to see as they grow, and you're entering sports with them. That's going to be fun too. So,
Right. You're
hang on for the ride for that one.
Yeah.
For anybody that wants to get in touch with you guys, what's the best way to find you as far as personal training here in the DC metro area, and then also the conditioning room, if you wouldn't mind sharing that?
Yeah, for personal training, it's savagefitness.com. All the info is like right there on one page.
I think I got this here. Yeah.
They can reach me at 202-320-0082. And the conditioning room is theconditioningroom.fit, fitting. And all the info about classes and everything we do there is right on that website. They can also
if you go to Instagram handles, you can always DM us too.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's easy.
And I can totally vouch for your classes. I've been going, I guess, a little over a year now, and it's been an awesome experience. Enough that I will get in my car and drive at 5 a.m. down to courthouse. If I keep doing that, it's going well. So.
That's commitment.
Right, exactly. Hey, we have a good crew going. The coaches are usually nice, wide awake, ready to go. We have a good crew at 5:30 a.m. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing a little bit about your story. And again, if you want to find Mike and Brittney, they're at the conditioning room and at Savitch Fitness on IG. Thank you guys so much. You are the best.
Thank you.
Carrie. Thanks for having us.
Bye.